Welcome to Today at Keeneland for Wednesday, April 14th. Scott Hazelton, Gabby Gaudette with you. And Gabby, I wasn't prepared for this kind of weather. I'll be honest with you. I came out to the car. Scrambling. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to run back inside and get a heavier jacket because it is chilly today and rainy. The rain, I think, is going to tail off here in the next couple of hours. But we have no turf racing today. And make sure you check the scratches and changes because there are a lot of them today with the conditions thrown at us.
Yeah, very unfortunate. I wasn't expecting this type of weather as well, but driving here from Louisville this morning was not very fun. So hopefully this weather can go a step aside and we can have a fantastic afternoon here at Keeneland. But as you mentioned, Scott, we are off the turf and we're going to be having to deal with muddy, sloppy conditions so far today.
And there is a pick six carryover that should be made note of in race number 3 is where it begins. $53,000 carries from the Sunday card where it was a good day of racing. We saw some top performances. Late pick 4 paid over $1,500. And in the featured event, the sprint race of the fillies and mares, it was Club Car who put together a strong run at 6 furlongs, coming over the top and drawing away from him for Ben Colebrook, who is just absolutely on a roll right now at Keeneland.
And she looked like a completely different racehorse last weekend. She rolled past everyone in that race. Ben Colebrook, maybe 5 wins, 6 wins at the meet, something like that. But everything he sends over seems to win or at least be very competitive. So the good meet continues for Ben Colebrook. That was Sunday. This is today. Let's get into it.
Let's get the official word on the weather from WKYT.
Rain in and out of our skies for most of the day, but at Keeneland, I think what will happen is we see some of it early on for some of the early post times. The temperatures generally in the 50s most of the day, with the rain around 1 o'clock, maybe a shower or two at 2. But I think what will ultimately happen is we make our way into the afternoon and our early evening run. I think we likely see a little more sunshine out there, so that helps. But again, conditions damp for sure out there. So good luck, win some money, and have a great day.
And later on tonight, it's going to be chilly overnight. Lows in the 30s, the high to mid 30s tonight. So hopefully we can warm up a bit as the week progresses. Let's take a look at our full card picks presented by TVG. 8-race card today. We'll start at 1:05 and right about 5 o'clock Eastern time. And as we mentioned, there's a lot of scratches and changes. A lot of things have changed from our initial opinions, Gabby. And as I said, and we'll continue to say, the best way to get these picks each and every day is to download that Keeneland Race Day app on your tablet or your smartphone.
That's right. And looking at the lineup here, it looks like we agree in the second race on the card with the number 6. We also agree in the 4th race with the number 6. But beyond that, it's pretty wide open. And I know we do have a couple of scratches, but Scott, I actually think that the dirt races, especially in the second half of the card, are pretty competitive. So that late pick 4 actually still might pay something if you're able to hit it and get some prices in there.
We'll give you our late pick 4 opinions in just a bit, but that is a glance at the full card picks presented by TVG. Social media, give us a follow on Twitter at Keeneland Racing, at Keeneland on Facebook, at Keeneland on Instagram, and the Watch TVG app. Make sure you download that on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, or Apple TV. All you'll have to do then is sign in with your TVG account, and you'll be able to catch both networks, TVG and TVG2, in HD, as well as the race book. And TVG2 is where you can check out Today at Keeneland each and every day if, in fact, you don't have TVG2 in your cable or satellite package. So those are the particulars. Let's get into the racing. Race number 7 is the featured event. This is one of the races taken off the turf course today, and thus the scratches. So we're left with just a field of 3. You're guaranteed to pick up a check by crossing the wire here in the featured event.
Yes, and unfortunately, it's just a tough race to get around here, Scott. But the 8, His Glory, is entered for main track only. So Joe Sharp entered with the hopes of this race coming off the turf, and I'm sure he's pleasantly surprised by all the scratches in here as well.
I went to the full horse Joy Epiphora initially and stuck with this filly with all the scratches and the main track only getting into the race. But this is a mare that is by a stallion named Fortify, who's by Distorted Humor. Distorted Humor runners are tremendous on off tracks. And the stats that I have with this particular stallion, Fortify, who I've never heard of, I'll be completely honest with you, it looks like an Argentinian-based stallion, close to 30% win clip on an off track for offspring of Fortify, 29% win rate. This is a filly mare, who has experience over conditions like this in her home country of Argentina back in 2019. We're going to roll back her last race at the fairgrounds, which was in the Tom Benson Memorial. She had a tough start. A lot of these fillies went through this similar thing. You see all the bumping and crowding that went on. She actually comes away with a solid position, but she makes a run around the turn and gets the lead, but ultimately is passed, and she's 10-1 on this day, and she ends up finishing fourth. There she is down on the inside with Jimmy Graham. Jimmy's going to be riding her again here today. She's going to strike the lead against tougher company here today, and I thought that this was a solid effort to think that she's got a big look in here. So hopefully things will go her way. Let's hope that she likes the conditions. I think she will. She's bred to like the conditions based on her pedigree with that stallion with being so highly productive with the off-track runners. But give me Joy Epifora in the featured event on top with the main track only entrant underneath His Glory, and then that just leaves me with one more, the one who remains in here, a horse that I think really is going to have to step up off of a 4-month layoff against conditions like this. So I'll go Joy Epifora on top in the feature race 7.
See, these races can be a little tricky, though, in the late pick 4 sequence, because you think that the main track only entrant looks like he or she has this field cornered. Sometimes it's not necessarily the case, and you know as well as I do, Scott, that when it's a 3-4 horse field, whatever you're dealing with, these small fields, anything can happen in terms of the pace scenario. These horses kind of clump together, and it makes it a little bit more even. I did go to the 8, His Glory, and she will ultimately be my single in the late pick 4, because you can't go too deep, in my opinion. You either have to go all or you single in this race to just try to make the most of this heavy favorite. And I scratched into her, obviously. She's going to be the top pick. She's capable on a fast main track, sloppy, wet track too. And the most important thing is that she has speed. And when we're in these short fields, I often lean towards horses that naturally have speed instead of horses that don't, because they're often forced to keep up with the rest of the field. So that's the way that I saw it. I just thought that she was a standout in this race.
It's going to be an interesting event, 3-horse field in race number 7. Let's hear more from the horse about the horse that I like. That is Joy Epifora by going to Tom Leach.
Here with jockey James Graham. He'll be aboard Joy Emporia in the allowance feature on Wednesday. 2 runs down at the fairgrounds. Tell me what you learned about her.
She wait as long as you can. Beautiful trips both times. One, I got shut off a little bit late when I was going for a hole. Second one got there too soon. You know, it's just one of those things. Lovely.
All about the timing for her?
Yes, definitely. Just wait as long as you possibly can. You nearly want to be getting into trouble on her for her to be more effective, you know. So hopefully we get a bit of a trip that we can work out and get there on the wire.
And looks like from how she ran on those less than firm courses that she'll handle some kind of give in the ground just fine.
Yeah, you could run her over broken glass and bottle tops. I don't think she'd mind. It's all about the timing.
Good luck.
Thank you.
So that was obviously a few days back. I'm guessing on Sunday that Tom was able to catch up with Jimmy Graham. So encouraging there that she'll handle anything. And she's not, I don't think you're going to have, I mean, listen, barring her stumbling away from the gate, she's going to get a decent trip and probably sit right off the pace and do what Jimmy said, just try to time it right on the wire.
Well, he said she can run on broken glass and bottles, so she should be able to handle the main track today. And I love that interview because he was really dirty in there.
What made you like that? I don't get it. You all right?
Oh, gosh, it's funny. It's funny to me. Sorry.
You're going to see plenty of that today, so you'll be excited. Race number 3 is where I'm going to take us in our first key race analysis of the day, and this is a race that stays intact. No scratches as of yet in race number 3. Fingers crossed it holds up. And Moob Barmage is the morning line favorite at odds of 5-2. 50,000 claimers going a mile and a 16th, and obviously over the wet conditions that you can see back behind the graphic right now here at Keeneland. The number 5 horse is my top play for Todd Pletcher. He's a son of Curlin. Conditions shouldn't be a problem for him. This will be his first try on an off track. But the class drop that he's taking for the Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners and others is significant. This is a colt, now 5-year-old horse, that started off his career certainly with big aspirations. I mean, he came out of some top performances back in 2019 to win consecutive races. They tried him in the Grade 3 Discovery at the end of 2019, and then we didn't see him all last season. He took all of 2020 off, and this is a horse that came back in his most recent start and finished sixth to a horse by the name of Attachment Rate, who ran a big one in the Commonwealth, and then West Willpower, who we saw win for Gary and Mary West this past weekend. So a live race. We'll take you back to his last race, last win, I should say. This is all the way back in Belmont Park. At this stage of the game, this is when he was in that top form. But I wanted to show you back his last race. We didn't have access to that race at Gulfstream Park, but going back to this effort, he's a nice horse. There's no getting around it. And he won two short fields against two short fields at Belmont Park in the fall of 2019. And I think that today this is the right spot for Mubar Maj to come through, showing up for for 50 as he's seeking his third career victory. They gave him a shot against the Allowance Company. They got a gauge of where he's at. This is where he ends up in here, and I think that they put him in the correct spot today. The 7 is the second selection for me, Someday Jones, another one that takes a class drop. He has experience on and off track. In fact, he's run 4 very solid races, including a victory in 5 attempts on the off track, so that's encouraging. And then the one horse, Our Alibi, is my third choice in there. Coming off of back-to-back wins, one at Mountaineer, one at Mahoning Valley, against Allowance Company, shows up for 50. This is obviously going to be a tougher spot, but you got to respect his current form. So 5, 7, and 1 is my thoughts in race number 3.
All right, I'm going to take us a little bit later in the card to race 8. This race is a dirt race, so it stays well intact here. 6 furlongs on the main track, a $20,000 non-winners to 2 lifetime claiming event. I know the 3 Verified is the morning line favorite at 5-2. I wouldn't be surprised if the 7, Inspector Frost, winds up going off as the favorite because it's Godolphin, it's a homebred, it's Brad Cox, it's Luis Saez. This horse is dropping from Allowance Company. And I decided to go against both of these horses because you might be able to find more value elsewhere. I do respect Verified, and if you're trying to beat Inspector Frost, I think is probably a viable alternative. But the 6 Magic Carpet I thought was really interesting. We'll take you back to his race 2 starts back. This was coming in off of the lengthy layoff. His start prior to was in February of 2020, so he was coming in off of over a year layoff, and he looked just a little flat. I mean, I thought he ran a fine race this day. This was at the fairgrounds. It was against $30,000 claimers, and he finished 3rd there against Grove Daddy, who actually ran back here at Keeneland last week, I believe it was. But he was at least encouraging. You can see him in the Gary and Mary West silks down on the inside, and he just kind of finished up from there. But I like him coming back to $20,000 claimers. I like the fact that it's his 3rd start off the layoff. He got away awkwardly last time out, and hopefully that's not going to be the case today. He's also a set of Malibu Moon. It is a question of whether or not he's going to handle the conditions of the main track today, but that's pretty much a question for most runners in this race, including Inspector Frost, who definitely by far had his worst race on a muddy field track. So I just thought there was value with him. If you're looking for other horses in there, maybe even the one Fast Bob, but I think most of the money will be going to the 7 and the 3 Verified. The problem with the 3 Verified is that he doesn't really have a lot of early speed, and I don't really see there being too much early speed in here. So I'm going against both the horses that figure to get bet with the 6 here, 6, 7, 3 for me.
I'm going to go to race number 6 for our next bit of discussion. Maiden 50 claimers, fillies and mares 3 and up. They'll be going a mile and a 16th on the off track. The 1 is a scratch. So we've got a field of 8 left here, which will, by the way, start the be part of the late pick 4. Part of the late pick 4 does start the late pick 3 for what it's worth. But scratch the 1, living 4 today. Deemed Essential, the 5, the morning line favorite, is a daughter of Upstart who comes off of a turf try. She gets back to dirt, and she takes a drop in class. Here's another Pletcher runner dropping in class that makes sense. They've given her plenty of chances in Maiden Special Weight Company down in Florida between Gulfstream Park West and Gulfstream, and now they drop her in for 50. She was the beaten favorite in her first 2 starts. She actually ran some pretty big races in those first couple of starts, and we'll take you back to the 21st of November, which was her second start. Wanted to go back to this effort on this afternoon, given the fact who beat her, Dial to Win. Dial to Win's a nice filly who draws off and wins by 3 lengths. She was 4th in the Grade 3 Forward Gal most recently. You see a lot of italicized runners in the run lines for this filly. She's faced good company. So the class relief is big, and she was actually making up a little bit of ground there as Dial to Win was geared down. But deemed essential on the drop today. Look for her to wake up with Johnny Velasquez in the saddle for Let's Go Stable. As far as the second choice, the number 2 horse, Seascaper, Distorted Humor, off track, go there. If you can find it, Saez, and probably we'll try to get this filly on the lead. And then the number 6 horse, a Legendary Gift for Eddie Keneally. She's had one race. That was the Pass the Champagne Slumber Party race that we showed you back during opening weekend. If you joined us here on Today at Keeneland, Pass the Champagne came very close to winning the Grade 1 Central Bank Ashland just last weekend. So you've got to give her a lot of respect in the drop that she's taking. So it's all about the class relief for the top 3 for me in race number 6. A challenging race. This is one of the more difficult races that we have today, this maiden 50. I'm going to
stay at race 6, actually, because I thought that this was another key race within the late pick 4 sequence. Scott, honestly, with the scratch of the one living for today, I would even consider hitting the all button and trying to beat the favorite in there, deemed essential. I get it. She's dropping in class, but and her last race going a mile at Gulfstream at the maiden special weight level, she faced Curlin's Catch and Tabor Hall. I mean, there's some nice fillies that she's been running against. You either try to beat her or maybe you single her. Personally, I think she's vulnerable. I like the 3 Take Charge Patty here. I think she'll be overlooked because she is one of those long-time maidens in here, and people usually gravitate towards more lightly raced horses, as do I normally. But I do think that this filly could have now just found the right field today. We'll take you back to her race here at Keeneland. This was on the 21st of October, in which she finished second. And it was an oddly run race because this is a filly that's never really shown speed before in the past, but her rider that day, and Rafael Bejarano, decided to kind of open up on the field, and then she just didn't have enough left to get herself to the finish line. It was also a mile and 3/16. So she is shortening up to a mile and a 16th today. You could question whether or not she's better on the turf or the dirt. I think she'll be fine on either surface. And I just think she gets the right type of class relief today. It's a $50,000 claimer, and I'm hoping she finds the right field. Beyond her, I did use the 5 deemed essential because of those races that she's coming out of in South Florida, and then the 6 Legendary Gift with Slumber Party, Pass the Champagne, the race that you mentioned she's coming out of. So the problem with her, and look, a class relief can completely change a racehorse, and maybe even 2 turns. But Legendary Gift, I just didn't quite like how she showed speed and then stopped, and now she has to stretch out to a mile and a 16th. Or you could look at it as, okay, well, she showed speed against tougher. Maybe she'll win showing speed against easier today. I'm happy to see Eddie Keneally get a victory last week, too. So I think the barn's starting to heat up a little bit, and we'll see what happens in the race. But it is tricky. If you don't quite trust deemed essential, it opens the race up to literally everybody.
And because you got the shorter field later, maybe it ends up being an all-button situation as well. I mean, this is really going to, in a lot of ways, be the key to the late pick 4 and the late pick 5 race number 6. Let's jump into the Clocker Report. We'll go mid-card. Race number 4 will be the first focus of the Clocker Report, starting with Happy Soul here at Keeneland. Worked a half a mile, 46-4 on the 6th of April. Very sharp gate work here in company. Barn off to a hot start, so Happy Soul in the 4th. That's the number 6 in race number 4. And then in race number 5 at Linny Kate, another half-mile breeze, 48-1 for Linny Kate, 9th best of 36. That was on the 9th of April. Looked good in local breezes. Hot Jockey gets the call. So race 4, the 6, mark that one as the Clocker Report, pointing towards that one. And then in race number 5, the 5. 46-55 today for the Clocker Report for this Wednesday 8-race card. All right, let's jump into the late pick 4 as you'll have the honors, Gabby. Let's get into it, starting with race number 5. Beginning things today with this late pick 4 8-race card.
All right. Race 5 is that allowance race that has come off the turf. I originally liked the 5 Linny Kate as my top pick on the turf. Chad Brown decides to leave this Daughter of Tonalist in on the main track. So by that virtue alone, I think she's sneaky, but I prefer the 10 Peters Kitten on the main track. So I just think that she should be able to find herself in good form here for Mike Maker. And then the 13, My Last First Kiss. She'll get bet because she's a main track only entrant. I don't think she has to win, though. because it's still a question of class. There are some other fillies in here that might be a little bit better. I know she's good on the dirt, but we'll see what happens. I did use the 5, 10, and the 13. Race 6 is the race I mentioned. If you're playing on a bigger budget, I would just take the easy way out and hit the all button. I think it's wide open if you think Deemed Essential is vulnerable. The 7th race, you either go all with 3 horses in there or you single, in my opinion. So the 8, His Glory, will be the single. I think she's the speed in the class, the main track only entrant for Joe Sharp. And then we get to the final race of the sequence using 3 horses, the 2 that figured to get bet, and the 3 Verified, and the 7 Inspector Frost, and then my top selection, which is the 6 Magic Carpet.
I'm going to use just 2 in the first leg, race number 5. That's the 5 and the 13, the 5-horse Lenny Kate by Tonalist. Should be able to handle this off track with another pedigree that's outstanding on wet surfaces. And then clearly the 13 has to be used as the main track only entrant, getting the opportunity to draw in. Race number 6 going deep here, 2, 4, 5, and 6. I initially had the 1 on there, but I would consider even throwing another one on just for the sake of doing so and having as much coverage as you possibly can, given these connections. So that is the approach going deep in race number 6. As far as race number 7, going to use just the 4 and the 8. That's Joy Epifora, the filly that I like, and I think that she can handle these conditions. She's bred for it. And then the horse that will be the favorite on the outside, His Glory, the main track only entrant for Joe Sharp. And then finally 3 and 5 in race number 8, the 3 Verified. The only bad race that this horse has put forth was the route race. So staying at sprint distances, staying at this lower level is a plus for the son of McLean's Music, the number 3 horse, and then the 5-horse Kierkegaard for Jack Sisterson. I like him actually quite a bit in here at odds of 5-1. I think he's a price play in this spot. He's run some solid races, and I don't think that the competition is much different than what he ran against at Turfway Park for 15 back on the 19th of March and coming back in less than a month's time for Kierkegaard. So that's the approach today. Late pick 4. We look forward to it. Late pick 5, early pick 5. Plenty of opportunities to play this afternoon on this Wednesday card. Let's dive into our best angles of the afternoon, and I'll start with the opener. Race number 1, Sunny Isle Beach is 4-5. I tried to come up with a scenario where Sunny Isle Beach loses, and I simply couldn't come up with that scenario. I think that this horse makes the lead. The class drop is too big. I know that he's burned some money, or she's burned some money in her last 4 starts, or last 3, I should say. She was a winner the day that they claimed her for 40. But they drop her in for 30 today. Danny Gargans runs some live runners as he normally does. He's looking for that first victory. Saez in the saddle. Sunny Isle Beach for me is the reason I'll go. And I think that go with him. And we'll take you back to her most recent effort at Gulfstream Park on the 17th of February, where she was the favorite. She's in those pink silks you can see, and she's going to end up finishing second, making up some ground on the filly down to the inside in front of her. But I just think that she and Champagne Toast just go all the way around there. I think it's a merry-go-round race between these two. I think the 4 makes the lead. I think Jimmy Graham stalks her and is unable to pass her. So that's why I'm going to go with a 4-2 cold deck exacta for $5. You can make it for 10. You can make it for 20. But I'm going ice cold here, 4-2 on a chilly afternoon at Keeneland Racecourse.
All right, Scott, I like it. Race 5 later today does kick off the late pick 4, which we've analyzed. But my opinion has completely changed with this race coming off of the turf. So originally, my best angle was going to be the 5 Lenny Kate in here, but I still wanted to discuss this race because I think you have to respect Lenny Kate, the fact that she's bi-tonalist. She definitely has a dirt pedigree, and she gets Rosario, and it's Chad Brown. Chad Brown sometimes doesn't always leave his horses in when it comes off the turf, so I think this is encouraging, a vote of confidence that he does. But I still see one horse in here that I think could be sneaky, which changed my late pick 4 and changed my opinion in this race. The 10, Peter's Kitten for Mike Maker. It was the first time that this mare came out of his barn last time out. She ran a really good closing third against Allowance Company at the fairgrounds. But she is 1 for 17, Scott, and her only victory came on a sloppy sealed track. Since then, she's been running on the turf. She's 0 for 16 on the turf. So I just think this is a gift that is being handed to Mike Maker, and maybe we could even see this mare not necessarily run strictly on turf moving forward. her first race, or her maiden victory, she broke her maiden at Santa Anita on the sloppy sealed track. She hasn't been on the dirt since then. So I think she's got sneaky, wet track form. So that's going to be the play in the 5th race.
That is race number 5. Let's go to Tom Leach's long shot pick of the day. And he's going to go to race number 5 as well, right in the middle of the card. Race number 5, that's the race taken off the turf course. And with Linny Kate being part of it, Peter's Kitten, the number 10 horse, 10-1 on the morning line. There you go. The
Same
daughter
horse?
of Kitten's Joy.
Now, it won't be 10-1,
Exactly.
unfortunately. But if Tom likes, I like. Even better.
Second start for the Maker Barn was previously with Michelle Level out in Southern California, was with John Sadler, one of the top conditioners on the West Coast. And we'll see if she's able to handle these conditions as she has in the past. It's not often that you can say that a horse is run on a sloppy track at Santa Anita, but that is the case with Peter's Kitten, and she was good over it in getting the victory. And we'll look to see her in race number 5. Chilly afternoon. We hope to see you out here. We've got plenty of bourbon, though, to keep you warm, Gabby.
That's true. Come out, get some burgoo and some chili.
That's right.
I mean, bourbon. You can't eat chili and burgoo, or you
Yeah,
can.
you could.
Whatever you want to do.
To each his
It's
own.
a lot.
I've seen you tackle multiple hot dogs on an afternoon, so anything goes out here at Keeneland. Come out and enjoy yourself. That is the bottom line. And make sure you bring some gloves if you're coming out here and going to be down here with us on the bottom floor at Keeneland as we go back and forth from the paddock to the front side. For Gabby, I am Scott. We thank the entire team here on Today at Keeneland. We look forward to this 8-race card, a 5-day race week here at Keeneland Racecourse, and then we'll race 3 days next week, and that'll be the wrap for the 2021 April season. But still plenty of racing left, though, as we kick off this latest week of racing here in Lexington.
The excitement of Kentucky Derby Week and the return of the Keeneland April Horses of Racing Age Sale. Backed by a history of success, the 2021 April sale introduces a new integrated format featuring an enhanced all-digital catalog and the option to buy horses on site in the Keeneland sales ring or remote from anywhere in the world. The April Horses of Racing Age Sale, Monday, April 26th.
When it comes to hybrid technology, nobody has more hybrid models than Toyota. From the Prius, the hybrid that started it all, to America's best-selling car, Camry, and best-selling SUV, RAV4, to the first-ever Corolla hybrid, the new best-in-class Highlander hybrid, and now the first-ever Sienna hybrid minivan, and Venza, the first exclusively all-wheel drive hybrid. They all come with a new 10-year, 150,000-mile battery warranty. Nobody knows hybrids like Toyota. Let's go places.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Keeneland Racecourse. At this time, we ask that you would please rise in tribute to our national anthem. Keeneland is proud to recognize Doug Myers from dining as the Employee of the Day. Doug, congratulations.
In the event of an emergency, Keeneland is dedicated to ensuring the safety of our patrons. This video illustrates the proper evacuation protocol from all locations in the Keeneland Grandstand facility. Depending on the nature of the emergency, directions may be altered. Please remain calm and follow the direction of guest services and security personnel. Patrons should never use elevators during an evacuation. Patrons in the corporate boxes, Eclipse Room, and Phoenix Room should exit using the stairway located near Elevator A. Proceed down the stairs to the ground floor and veer right to exit through the lower club entrance. Patrons in the Lafayette Room, Keeneland Room, Lexington Room, and Kentucky Room should exit using the stairway located near Elevator B. Proceed down the stairs to the ground floor and exit through the paddock area using the East Gate. Patrons in the third floor main clubhouse and clubhouse paddock dining rooms should exit using the stairway located near Elevator A. Proceed down the stairs to the ground floor and veer right to exit through the lower club entrance. Patrons in the Bluegrass Room and third floor ITW area should exit using the stairway located near Elevator B. Proceed down the stairs to the ground floor and exit through the paddock area using the East Gate. Patrons in the Finish Line Room and Green Room should exit using the stairway leading to the North Terrace. Proceed down the stairs to the second level and through the doors outside. Proceed down the stairs to the ground level and exit through the North Gate. Patrons in the outside reserved grandstand seats and boxes should proceed down the nearest stairway to the ground level. Proceed under the grandstand towards the paddock area and exit via the nearest point of exit, the South Gate or the East Gate. Patrons in the second floor main clubhouse dining room and life members room should exit using the stairway on the south side of the administrative offices. Proceed down the stairs to the ground floor and exit through the South Gate. Patrons in the second floor clubhouse paddock dining room and clubhouse tavern should exit using the stairway located near Elevator A. Proceed down the stairs to the ground floor and veer right to exit through the lower club entrance. Patrons in the mezzanine bar and second floor ITW area should exit using the stairway located near Elevator B. Proceed down the stairs to the ground floor and exit through the paddock area using the East Gate. Patrons in the sports bar and cantina should exit through the doors leading to the North Terrace. Proceed down the stairs to the ground level and exit through the North Gate. Patrons in the lower club, clubhouse lawn, club lobby, and director's room should proceed toward the clubhouse parking lot using the nearest point of exit. Patrons in the gift shop should proceed toward the South Gate using the nearest point of exit. Patrons in the apron area should proceed under the grandstand towards the paddock area and exit via the nearest point of exit, the South Gate or the East Gate. Patrons in the equestrian room and first floor Brats and Brew should proceed towards the North Terrace and exit through the North Gate. Patrons in the paddock area and North Terrace should proceed toward the nearest point of exit, the South Gate East Gate, or North Gate. After evacuating the facility, please remain calm and follow the direction of guest services and security personnel in the safest route to return to your vehicle. Thank you for your attention and cooperation.